like to welcome you all. My name is Noach Levin Epstein, and I am the head of the committee that organized this project of inequality in education that we will be discussing today. I'm happy to welcome you all here on behalf of the committee and on behalf of the initiative that is behind this project. I would like to ask Professor Menahem Yaari, formerly the head of the Israeli Scientific Academy and currently the head of, or the chair of the steering committee, to speak. Good morning. I would like to thank you all for coming this morning and dealing with the parking problem, which is currently unresolved in this area. I am here to greet you from the Israeli National Academy of Science. The Initiative for Applied Education Research, which is the parent of the initiative for looking into inequality in education. The Academy about 12 years ago the Academy set up together with Yad HaNadiv and the Ministry of Education this activity that's called the Initiative for Applied Education Research. And the purpose of this activity, without going into too much detail, is to make available all the knowledge, professional knowledge, scientific knowledge in Israel and abroad in education, to make it available to those who engage in these areas. Mostly we're talking about people from the Ministry of Education, but also from local authorities and various other places where education is engaged in. The matter of inequality in education is an issue that has come up more than once, and it is now emerging quite prominently as a result of this discussion being enhanced around the world, the discussion about inequality. Many of the intellectual centers across the world are recently engaging in matters of inequality. There are studies that are being published recently on this matter. Inequality is being researched, the sources of inequality are being looked into, and I can also mention Thomas Piketty's book in this regard about capital in the 21st century, and this book tries to explain the changes and the various moves that have led to inequality in many countries across the world, and as a result, inequality in the world in general. This inequality is usually measured in terms of all sorts of variables that are economic, because that's easy to measure, particularly income and assets or capital. And these are two variables that are quite easily measured and easy to measure equality and inequality using. But we're not talking about inequality in many other areas that where the economic matters are perhaps assisting to. And a company, when this phenomenon takes place, recently, in recent decades one might say, there has been growth and increase in inequality in many countries across the world. In fact, you might say there's been substantial growth of inequality around the world, and that in turn increased the need for looking into this issue and to really study it deeply to find its roots. We are interested, despite the fact that these measurements are usually done in terms of economic variables, we are interested here in inequality in education. And the reason for that is that education is perhaps the key ingredient of this area that we are interested in, or are worried about, or are acting towards getting equality in, and that is equal opportunity. For we, the problem is not equality at the finishing line of the race, but rather equality at the starting point of this race. I have 5 minutes. I hope it'll take me less. There's a very well-known story about the German captive camp in the First World War, where many were captured from the Allied forces, and all the captives were given a grant for their basic needs. And these grants were identical for all, meaning the starting point, the starting line was very equal. And then 2 months later, there were prisoners on camp who were poor, and through all sorts of processes of conclusion drawing that were conducted within the camp, this basic initial equality was in fact broken. So the idea of getting to an equal finishing line, that's an idea that we are not interested in, and we're not sure that is even desirable. We are not interested in races where all the contestants reach the finishing line exactly at the same time. That's not very interesting to watch. But what we are interested in is the matter of having a starting point that is equal for all, and that starting point is comprised of various components, but we usually use equal opportunity in order to characterize this equality. And recently there has been a big effort in research, mostly in the United States, that concentrates on characterizing this matter of equal opportunity. And the biggest study conducted by two main funds, big funds in the United States, was summarized in a large book called Whether Opportunity, meaning where are opportunities leading us to. And that's how the situation was created, whereby this initiative for applied education research in Israel is now engaging in this issue in the Israeli context. And I must say that this effort, this Israeli effort too, is being supported by one of the funds in the United States that is engaging in this area very intensively, as I've said. And we would like to thank them, of course. I would like to ask that Professor Noah Levine Epstein return here so that he may open our day here with some background on this effort that is being done by the Initiative for Applied Education Research. Thank you very much.